Smartphone prices have been on the rise for years, and it's been harder and harder to get a good budget phone. This is the LG Aristo 2. This can be found for 50 bucks, brand new. Now the question is, how much phone are you getting for 50 bucks? Let's find out. The LG Aristo 2 has been on the market for about 2 years now, and I want to know, what can you get for 50 bucks? Let's talk about design. The design of this smartphone is pretty cheap. The LG Aristo 2 features a full plastic body, meaning a plastic back with plastic sides and a glass display. Now, it doesn't feel too cheap in the hands. Again, it's a $50 smartphone at the end of the day. But again, it's really not that bad and you would get used to it really easily. Now, having that plastic back means you have a removable battery. And this does feature a removable back, so you can get to a removable battery. And that is pretty much non-existent in any smartphone today. So that's a great thing to have. Maybe, your battery's going bad, and instead of paying hundreds of dollars to get a new battery, you could just pop one off for like $5 on eBay and slip it into this phone, and you'll have a whole slew of new life. Now let's talk about the display. The display is an LCD display. It is 720p. But at the end of the day, for the price you're paying for this smartphone, a 720p LCD isn't the end of the world. And it really isn't that bad of a display. Colors do pop. And at the end of the day, you're getting a pretty good display for the price. It does have a 5-inch display, and it's very compact for today's standards. Just for comparison, we have an iPhone 7, and as you can see, the LG is basically the exact same size. Now let's talk about performance. Now this smartphone in general has a 1.4 gigahertz Snapdragon 425 processor. And to be honest, it definitely isn't the worst processor. It does have 2 gigs of RAM, which again isn't the best for today's standard. But 2 gigabytes of RAM in the Snapdragon 425 processor is enough to get this phone through a days of use perfectly fine, not a stutter. Again, it's not anything like the processors we get today in premium smartphones. Now let's talk about battery life. It features a 2,410 milliamp hour battery, which is removable, like I said before. Again, you're not going to be expecting a 4,000 milliamp hour battery in a device this cheap. But again, this battery is good enough. You will have to charge maybe at the end of the day. But again, the battery is good enough for the price point you're paying. Now let's talk about the camera. The camera is 13 megapixels. And there's no other word to say it's terrible. It's pretty much one of the worst cameras on a smartphone you can buy today. And I suggest you never take any photos with this smartphone ever. And that's pretty much the biggest Achilles heel of this smartphone is the camera. It is 13 megapixels, but at the end of the day, megapixels don't mean everything. And it's a really, really bad camera. Now, to the consumer that might buy this phone, you know what you're getting into, but I would not, trust this thing to take professional pictures. Let's talk about some of the features LG throws on this smartphone. Now, if you haven't already noticed, this does feature facial recognition. It is not 3D, of course. It is 2D, and it works sometimes. It has a very big failure rate. It is a 2D scanner, so it's got to be like right up on your face to work. But again, it does work about 50% of the time. And you do have PIN and password. There is no fingerprint scanner. Again, another Achilles heel of this phone. This looks like a fingerprint scanner. And I don't know why LG did not make this a fingerprint scanner. It is a power button. So this is the power button. And I don't understand why LG decided not to feature a fingerprint scanner. That's a perfect location for one, right when you turn the phone on. And, I don't understand. But again, at the price point you're paying, I guess you already know what you're getting into. You do get LG's theme store, which you can then highly customize and do what have you with your smartphone. Again, this is running a older version of Android. Major problem with this smartphone is the Android version. It is Android version 8.1.0 and it is on Oreo, which is very outdated for today's standards. And again, a big reason why you shouldn't buy this phone. But again, I'm going to go back to the main point of this video. You're paying $50. And for $50, you know, you already know what you're getting into. And most people who buy this phone or in the market for this phone won't even care about that software update. But it's one thing to mention that this will not be getting any Android updates in the future. So no Android Pie, no Android 11. This is done with Android updates. The LG Aristo 2, is it worth 50 bucks and should you buy it? And the answer for that is yes and no. Yes, it is worth $50. I think you get the complete package for $50. You get a decent display, a subpar camera, but it will get the job done, decent battery life, and decent performance. And for 50 bucks, it's a steal of a smartphone. For people who want to give their kids maybe a phone or an elderly person a phone, this is the perfect choice. Now, should you buy it? And the answer is no for me. There's so many other smartphones for $100 to $150, and I know that's not the price point we're trying to get at, but for anybody who wants a decent smartphone, this is not your option. The camera just lets it down, and the battery life lets it down. And at the end of the day, I feel like you can get a much better Android phone for about $100. Again, this is just cheap. And that's the number one thing. That's the problem with this smartphone. So with that being said, thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like the video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.